And we're live.
Excellent. Hello world, this is the PodLab Proof of Concept demo team doing what we do, which is tracking the Mojo phenomenon and showing the world the methodology we use to do so and the evidence we have gathered so far. We'll have a normal 3-act structure: Act 1 fundamentals, Act 2 intermediate, Act 3 advanced. Fundamentals, we focus on the language of Mojo reading, the descriptive words we use, but they're not just words, they're associated with specific physiological cues, and we look at that connection through collaging. Right now we're doing the TV show timeline. In Act 2, that is the major proof of concept portion, where the team has had a week to look at 5 to 10 samples under blind test conditions, and now we're going to come together and see what our cohesion of accuracy is. The most challenging samples for the team we'll spend some time reviewing. The samples this week are from Mitchell. Then in Act 3, the advanced portion, is the team doing a live read in real time, and you can see the way they're dialoguing back and forth, making inquiries, making suggestions, making possible assertions, and weighing the possible options and so forth. And how they do that with each other represents what each Mojo reader is doing within their own psyche. All right, and the sample for that will also come from Mitchell if you have some for us.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, introductions, we'll get into it. I am Nai G. Coach.
I am Jaini Jailin.
I'm Zaini Adamus.
I'm Naiji Mitchell.
I'm Naiji Ben.
And this is Naiji Glenn.
Take it away.
All right, so I will screen share the TV show pop culture timeline that we're going through. We actually got through the end of the 2005 through 2009 TV show timeline, so now we're going to start off with the 2010 through 2014. So getting closer and closer. And so today we'll follow normal protocols. So Coach, whenever you're ready, you can get us started.
All right, starting off with Luther, a crime drama series starring Idris Elba as a near-genius murder detective whose brilliant mind can't always save him from the dangerous violence of his passions.
Okay. Genai Idris Elba as DCI John Luther. As a Genai. So things that you'll see here, one is the unifield face. That is because he's a discerner. He has G as his first power, and that is an emoting power, and you see that coming up, traveling through the face in this picture, and it also it radiates from the mouth, it travels up the cheeks, and it also permeates the eyes as well, and it gives a whole a whole quality of caring in his face. On the right-hand side here, he is using his offside power, which is Zai, and that will neutralize his emotive expression. But even so, you still see a lot of emoting in his face.
And just a correction there, that's polar, the Zai.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Genai Warren Brown. Okay. Let's see, Jailin, you mainly just did Unifield's face and G, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Genai have Nai as their second power. So this gives their eyes there's a cunning quality to their gaze, and a part of that is kind of a piercing, penetrating quality. This has to do with the way that it sets boundaries. It naturally sets boundaries because they're directed mojos and Nai's momentum. So you'll notice that, especially on the picture on the left, that his eyes have kind of a staring right at you and penetrating right through your being. So kind of reading you in an interpretive sense. So like reading you in like a second conversation sort of sense. The what is of you instead of kind of just like the literal literal visage that you would get with Vi. Since the Genai have Nai as their second power, G above it, then it isn't quite as like a totally pure Nai signal as you get with the Nai G. It has a toned quality because the G emoting comes into their eyes, and so it actually tones it with a more of a caring quality.
Hebrew now. Anyway, so this is Nizi Dermo, I'm not really sure, probably. So, as an IZ, he is going to have unaware emoting, unlike the Genii that we just saw. So you're going to see the emoting on, to emphasize on the lower lip instead of the upper lip, and it's when he's doing the emoting, it's not like he's trying to move the audience. It's more about holding his space.
This is Shiny, Michael Smiley. Shiny have Jai as their source power, which means that there is the first thing they'll pop out is the Jai unaware mouth, as opposed to the neat dancing eyes they have. And that Jai unaware quality, because of the fact that they have unifield face, will go all the way from the mouth area all the way through the brow line.
Ziny Ruth Wilson. Ziny, similar to the Ziny, are nest towers, so they have that unifield face. But unlike the Ziny, they have Zai flowing throughout their entire face from the bottom of their chin all the way to the top of their forehead. Basically, it's this unflappable signal that's going throughout and giving that very unflappable signal. The emoting doesn't go beyond their lip line.
Nizi Paul McGann. So as a Nizi, he will have Ni Alpha cunning eyes, and so in both pictures you can see that he's sort of taking a detached assessment of situation, sort of looking for a deeper meaning or bigger picture understanding, and he is passing that through Z.
Jaini Hamuka. Jaini, we talked about before, the unifield face. I'll just kind of highlight the veil of poignancy that goes along the entire length of the face, as Glenn mentioned with the Zaini. So it goes the entire length and kind of lays over everything, including the eyes. So they have this warm, gauzy quality. So still dancing, you definitely see they're dancing, but compared to, say, Ni Alpha, there's a veil, in this case, a warm, gauzy veil of poignancy.
IZ, Stephen McIntosh.
Nizi Saskia Reeves.
That is me.
Okay. So the Nizi are logic-based mojos, and so you'll notice on their cheeks, it has a for the Z logic-based Z mojos, then we say it has an anvil-like quality, which means that the cheeks, you'll notice that they're popping in a sense that you don't actually see emoting going into them. So they have this clear quality, clear of emotive energy. While, like if you look into the left, then you can see that the Zhai emotive energy is localized. It's just below the cheeks. You can actually see pretty clearly that there's emotive energy happening at the mouth, but the cheeks stay clear. And yeah, that same quality carries on to the right. On the right, she's kind of giving more of there's an earnest kind of tensioning in the mouth, but the cheeks still, yeah, they still remain clear.
Zaini Indira Varma.
Naiji, Sienna Guillory.
They are new.
Yep. Naiji have G as their tandem power. Unlike the Jinai, the Ji goes from the mouth area, but only up to the brim line, because while they're values based and they are Ji mojos, their Ji is in the tandem position, and they have a bifield face.
Naizi David O'Hara.
Nizai Amy Fionn Edwards.
They are new.
Okay. So, let's see, Nizai have G emotive expressioning located between the midline of the face and the lip line. So the emotive expressioning only goes up to the midline of the face. And in contrast, you'll see the Zai neutralizing, taking over the entire area below the eyes. So from the lip line, below the lip line, all the way up to the brim line of the eyes. Yeah, those are the two areas.
Boardwalk Empire. An Atlantic City politician plays both sides of the law, conspiring with gangsters during Prohibition era. Set in the Prohibition era of the 1920s, Boardwalk Empire is a story of Enoch Nucky Thompson, the treasurer of Atlantic County, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Due to his relationships with mobsters as well as political contacts, the federal government starts to take an interest in him. His lavish lifestyle seems at odds with his position as well as his connections. There is a prolific bootlegging in the area.
Naiji Steve Buscemi as Enoch Nucky Thompson. Naiji males, they'll have that that Nai detached look that was mentioned earlier with the Nai-Z. Bruno mentioned that. They'll also, like when they look at a certain point, like it kind of is looking straight through you, like this sort of an observation, like big picture observation of the person, but like at their core. You can tell that in their eyes. And then they'll have the G as a second power that will have the emotive expressioning, the aware emotive expressioning, with the emphasis on the muscle fascia in the upper lip. That will have more energy, particularly when they articulate and express. And you'll see here, even though he sort of like has a straight face on both pictures, you can see some flexations in the musculature above the midline and in the cheeks, but nothing in the eyes in terms of emotive expression.
Stephen Graham is pending.
I thought he was Nijai.
I thought we already did these samples, I feel like.
They're looking kind of familiar.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, they seem familiar.
Huh.
Wait, so we've done this show?
I'm not sure.
Really? Because I didn't.
I think we're on Sherlock. Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, okay. Well,
Deja vu.
kicked it off already. We'll keep going
Keep
from
rolling.
here.
Who's up?
Do you want to start us over? You want to reset, Coach?
Alright, Sherlock. Well, I'll take whose turn. Whose turn was it?
This is
Is it
mine.
Venus? Or is it-
Fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
go
it was Ademus's. He was on the
Yeah.
pending one. So
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on.
he was didn't get a chance.
Okay, Sherlock. A modern update finds the famous sleuth and his doctor partner solving crime in 21st century London. In this modernized version of the Conan Doyle characters, is using his detective plots. Sherlock Holmes lives in early 21st century London and acts more cocky towards Scotland Yard's detective inspector Lestrade because he's actually less confident. Dr. Watson is now a fairly young veteran of the Afghan War, less adoring and more active.
All right, Nige Benedict Cumberbatch. That's Sherlock. Obviously.
Naizi and Martin Freeman is Dr. John Watson.
Nizai Una Stubbs as Miss Hudson.
Naizi Rupert Graves.
Shiny Louise Brealey.
Nizi, Mark Gaddis.
Nizy, Andrew Scott as Moriarty.
Nizai, Amanda Abington.
Nizai, Laura Pulver.
I'll skip this.
The Real Housewives.
Skipping next.
Yeah, because
Why
me,
too many Zine
me and Bruno are looking into the modeling bubble, and I think it's going to have effect there. There's a lot of ziny stuff going on in the Housewives.
How about this one?
Yeah.
Alright.
Interesting.
Alright, The Talk. A weekday gab fest offering a female perspective on the day's headlines.
We'll have different mojos.
Zenai Sharon Osborne.
That's new.
Yeah.
So Zenai will have localized Jai expressioning just in the lip area. So it won't really go above the lip line of the face. And instead, the Z neutralizing, anvil neutralizing, will extend throughout the face, below the lip line, all the way above the eye, the brow line.
Nice.
Denai Cheryl Underwood.
Jibai Aisha Tyler. Jibai, they'll have that unifield face because they're discerners as well, like the Jinai that I mentioned above with Idris Alba. So she'll have a pilot face and that warm, aware, emotive expressioning that will come up her face and into the cheeks and into the eyes, permeate the eyes. But the big difference here will be in the quality of the eyes, whereas Idris Alba had more like dreamy, cunning-looking eyes that were more diffuse-looking. The Ji-Vi will have Vi as you know, they have Vi as their perception power, and that gives them sort of a look of a more dense eyeball, if you will, pupil, and a look of concern. In her case, she actually has a good amount of that polar power of Ni, which also gives, offside power of Ni, which gives her a buoyant, open, kind of lifted, laughing kind of eyes.
Yeah, and also like kind of like the halo, that the laughing quality is like a halo around the body.
Yeah, it lightens it up,
Mhm.
right?
The dancing halo.
Yeah. That's a good, like, improv-y kind of thing to it.
She has talent to it. She's a voice from Archer. One of the
Yeah, yeah, I really like her, Lana.
Nice.
Ji-Bai Julie Chen.
Zenai Sarah Gilford.
Jibai, Leah Ramini.
Seems like those two are pretty common.
Yeah.
Jivi Holly Robinson Pete.
It seems to be those.
Ziny and Avijai and all this kind of.
Zenai Marissa Jarrett Winokur.
That's interesting. It's for like the females. It's the two female pilot mojos that show up in comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good point.
The most anyway.
Yeah, no, you're
Sometimes
right.
Ji-Bai. Yeah.
I guess one of the interesting things where this happens quite a few. Go back over quick just a second. Where you'll have two buttons in there, and you're wondering why there isn't a bleed over as much. For example, Zivi or Ginai, because clearly, like the fact they're both pilots. If you were to say what's similar, because they're actually quite different. I mean, there's similarities. They're pilots, yet the other two pilots don't
show up.
show up.
Mhm.
Or they do show up in like different entertainment like shows, because like Zivi, aren't they? But they're more in radio.
Well, let's say-
Shock.
Who's this?
Zivi. I was thinking Zivi.
Zivi? No, Zivi would be with some athletes, you know.
Yeah.
Like mountain bikers.
Sometimes
players.
local news
Oh,
and stuff
okay.
like that.
Military Pete, right?
I
You can
see.
see Shinai sometimes in these things.
Yeah, you do see Jinai as like talk show hosts or
Sometimes, yeah, you do.
sometimes.
Yeah, you do. That's
Yeah.
true. But not as much.
TV
They don't.
personality.
They don't do as much comedy. Actually, when it comes to comedy, the Xenai and
Oh, look at
the
Trevor Noah. There are some
right, but this is females.
Yeah, females, they definitely are great. I was talking about like
Interesting.
females.
Okay, more data,
Yeah.
but it's fascinating. There's
Yeah.
something going on there.
It really is.
All right, yeah, go see that one too. Walking Dead, I just put in there. Keep going. Okay, Camelot. Who's up? Me?
You.
Yes.
King Camelot. King Uther dies suddenly, witness facing chaos. The sorcerer Merlin appoints the not-so-known son and heir Arthur as a king who was raised as a commoner. But his half-sister has other plans. Arthur faces tough times and will be tested beyond imagination.
Uther.
Naiji Josephines as Merlin.
Naiji Jamie Campbell Jamie Campbell Bower as King Arthur.
Hold on that. On her. Yeah,
Pending.
put pending there.
I wonder.
Maybe not Naiji, and an African.
Who's up?
Ben.
Ben?
Unless I'm supposed to do this one because the last one didn't count or something.
Oh, yeah, go.
I wasn't sure. I can go either way.
Good, Mitchell, go ahead.
Sure, I'll go. This one will count for me. Okay, Shinai, Peter, and
Unai Philip Winchester.
Jaime Eva Green.
Mm-hmm.
Or Ava.
And I see Jermaine Mortar.
He probably makes Pain Dreadful.
It does.
Ah, this guy. Rollo.
It's your turn.
It's
You
me.
get the call.
Nizy Clive Standen as Gawain. He plays Rollo from Vikings.
Nijai Claire Fulani. Is new. With Nijai, you'll see the eyes really pop out with that open, receptive, laughing, lifted sort of quality, that halo. Many of them will have this feline sort of look. She happens to have that quite a bit. And then in terms of emotive expressioning that they have an aware mouth, and it will travel up into the midline. And with both, she's sort of like using a good amount of Z, which is her offside power, which gives a bracing, more sheer sort of look, but you still see emotive expression going into the cheeks.
Vijay Chipo Chung.
Vijay.
Is that new?
Yep.
Cool. All right. This is an interesting one because the Vijay are the mojos. So this gives their eyes a laser eye quality. We just did a Nijai, so that's convenient. They're both going to be kind of similar in the sense that they're Jez gathers. So they both have kind of an apple cheek quality, and their eyes are going to pop with kind of a gathering quality. So you're going to see momentum drinking in with them. The difference is the Nijais, when they drink in, their eyes get more diffuse, more dancing eyes, whereas the Vijais, their eyes get more of this clear-eyed laser quality. Now, I could actually see a lot of Nai in her. So she still has the V momentum kind of clear laser eyes, but you also see a bit of a cunning weariness of the second conversation quality in her eyes. More so than the average Vijay, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
The role she was cast in there was kind of like this exotic person who has knowledge from
Other lands.
Other lands.
kind of looks like Nizai Sinead Kuzak. Sinead.
Probably Sinead, maybe.
Sinead. Interesting.
Ijai Lergian Koroteki.
Naizi Sean Pertwee, also on Gotham.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Come on, the Masterverse.
Genai James Purefoy.
Ginai Sebastian. Oh,
Alpha. Dr. Lee Rosen leads a team of Alphas, human beings with enhanced abilities, to investigate the death of a witness in a court case. They soon uncover more than they had bargained for. Following the death of a witness in a court case, Dr. Lee Rosen leads a team of Alphas, as Rosen mentors them and teaches the team to harness their considerable skills, they begin to realize that there are powerful forces behind the courthouse murder, including one of their own. And this was an awesome show, and they didn't pick it up for the second season, which
I know.
travesty.
This is shameful.
Mm-hmm.
Naiji David Stratham as Dr. Lee Rosen.
Naiji Ryan Cartwright.
Nizia Warren Christie.
Nijai Azita Gun Izada.
Shiny Laura Manel.
Ginai Malik Yoba.
Naiji Mahershala Ali.
Nizi John Piper Ferguson.
Nizai Aaron Way.
This.
Nice.
Danger 5. Set in a bizarre 1960s-inspired version of World War II, this action comedy series follows a team of 5 spies on a mission to kill Hitler.
Naizi David Ashby.
Naizi Sean James Murphy.
Nizai Natasha Christic as Ilsa.
Mm.
Dun, dun, dun.
Nizai Amanda Simmons.
Interesting filter they have on those.
Yeah.
Carmine Russo as Adolf Hitler is pending.
Quite transformation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look like the same person.
Daria Russo's pending.
Nizi Aldo Mignon, I think.
Yeah.
Mignon.
Ice Loves Coco. The series chronicles the daily lives of rapper and actor Ice-T and wife Coco Austin.
Nizai Coco Austin.
Nizai Ice-T as himself.
Nijai Solji McQueen.
Well,
Interesting.
Yeah. And let's see. So Vijay, he has those V laser eyes. They have a laser quality, open, like clear like a camera lens, and drinking in the 5 senses. And he has the unaware smile. He has this, bigger smile in the picture here on the left, but it's sort of a half open smile on the picture on the right, and on both there's more energy on the lower lip, and they have this apple cheek look because he's a jazz gatherer. They have this apple cheek look, so the mode of expression is going into his cheeks, but it doesn't go into the eyes, so then it kind of like forms this little round mask that like pops out because the eyes are clear and open and flat, and then the smile is big.
The Borgias. The saga of a crime family in 1492 Italy, following the Borgia family as they rise to power in the Roman Catholic Church. Rodrigo Borgia uses bribery with the help of his son to secure his position as Pope Alexander VI. But he has gained enemies in the College of Cardinals who begin to plot against him. He must find alliances.
Niz Jeremy Irons is Rodrigo Borgia.
Very cunning pope.
Very, very surprising.
Oh yeah, Naji Francis Arnold. Francois.
Francois Arnaud.
Cesare.
Nizai Holiday Granger.
Izzy Peter Sullivan.
Sorry.
John Harrison.
A very dramatic look. Very album.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Nizai Joanne Wally.
Naji Lottie Verbeek.
Niz Confiore. Maybe just Fiore.
I think that was right.
Nazi Vernon Gopchif.
Naiji David Oakes.
Shiny Gina McKee.
Naiji David Alpay.
Right.
Get that again. Those housewife ones.
Oh my gosh.
Boom.
Always these Ziny.
Yeah, they probably are still going to be, but I'm getting a lot more Ziny in the modeling bubble I'm doing with Bruno, so I'd like to kind of come back to that, into Ziny housewife land, that lens.
Ziny housewives, isn't it?
All right, so now on to Act 2, the intermediate portion, which is the weekly quiz, Mitchell Samples. Take it away.
Okay, so Mitchell, you'll be last.
Alright then.
All right.
I forgot it again this week. Let me try to do it live yet again.
Alright, you could open up. I have pictures.
I'm gonna guess Naiji on the blind Naiji guess on the first one.
So, okay, so let me read it out and then you can say your guess. So, Trevor Moore, actor, comedian, founder of the comedy troupe The Whitest Kids You Know. What's your guess, Bruno?
Oh yes, I did see him actually, and yeah, I'm gonna guess Naiji.
All right, cool. How about
Naiji for me as well.
all right?
I guessed Nizai.
Okay. How about you, Adimas?
I say Nizai.
I went with Nizi on him. What did you say, Mitchell?
I said Naichi.
He is Naiji.
Okay.
I was scared. Naiji and Nizai? What?
Richard Rorty.
Pretty common copy.
Rorty, yeah. American philosopher, post-analytic, and pragmatist tradition. What's your guess, Bruno?
I'm going to guess Naiji as well.
For him, I said Nizai.
All right.
I said Nijai.
All right.
Nizai.
Okay. I went with Nijai. What did you say, Mitchell?
I said Ziny.
He was tough. This one was a toughie. That round head. But I believe Mitchell got it. I think this is Ziny.
I know his cadence. I was totally thinking like Nijai or Nizai at first,
Right?
but it's so slow
So
and
slow in
like
his hands.
calming.
So languid.
Yeah.
Definitely onto something. George Lakoff, cognitive linguist known for his embodied mind thesis. What's your guess on this one, Bruno?
Nizai.
Mine is also Nizai.
Nizai.
Nijai.
Right, I went with Nijai.
I also went Nijai, but I could see.
I believe he is Nijai. Oh, he was tough. I actually between those two for quite a while. His cheeks don't move much. They do not move much.
Yeah, I didn't think he was doing she.
I think that's a riff thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it took him a while to see.
Yeah. Okay, Charlie Puth, singer and songwriter. What's your guess on this one, Bruno?
Naiji.
My guess is Naiji as well.
Okay. Ben?
Naiji.
Nina?
Naiji.
I went with Naiji on him as well.
And I would imagine.
Naiji it is.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
You
So enthusiastic.
were distracted.
Yeah.
Philosopher known for his
Yippee.
I don't even know, of Heidegger and criticism of artificial intelligence. What is your guess on him, Bruno?
Vaiji.
I said Nizai.
I said Naiji.
Zaini.
I went with Zaini on him.
And I also was signing.
Okay.
It's tough.
Yeah, actually, a lot of other people also guess Zaini on him, but I believe he's a Nizai.
Oh no, I was hinging on Nizai actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he had some of these out here, right?
His digits.
I actually, his
Yeah.
eyes to me look so much like Marvin Minsky, but his head is so much longer.
You who riffed me? Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
he did
one.
too.
Good one,
Even in one gesture, I think one of the things where he's like in a picture and he's like this, with his hand like this. So, lean on his elbows while doing like a jazz hand. You know what I mean? The eyes all perked up. So, Colbert does that.
Very interesting.
Ooh, I think that might be something. Not that anyone can't do that, but the way you did it.
All these Nizai with like long faces.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Optional. Hannah Critchlow, neuroscientist. What's your guess, Bruno?
Naizi.
I said Naiji too.
No, I said Naizi.
Yeah, he said Naizi. You said
Oh.
Naiji. Okay.
I
Ben?
said Nizai.
I said Zaini.
I said Nijai. That's quite a spread.
I said Naiji.
Whoa.
Bruno got it. Nice.
Oh,
Oh,
dang.
wow.
Nice one.
Good call. All right.
Tricky. Very hard.
James Young, musician. Your guess, Bruno?
Naiji.
I wonder. Naiji.
I guess Naiji.
I said Naiji.
I went with Naishi as well.
Naiji. Is he not? Oh, no.
What is
Nice
it?
it is.
I
Oh.
got scared there for a
I know,
second.
I know. All
Just
right.
a dramatic pause.
You know, I was thinking maybe he could be like a Jaini. I did wonder that.
Alright, that's fair.
That's fair.
This was a.
Brian Leiter,
I have a hard
philosopher,
time.
legal scholar,
I'm still not
professor,
confident.
scholar of Nietzsche and Marx. What's your guess on him, Bruno?
Nijai.
I think he might be Nizai.
Nijai.
I passed on the remaining three.
I passed on him.
I said Nijai, but I'm not confident.
He was another one that I had to weigh between the two knee out for a while. I believe he's a Nijai who just doesn't move his cheeks a lot. But he really doesn't. Him and that other one, they don't move their cheeks a whole lot.
Yeah, a lot of these academic ones are probably doing like Z a lot, and you're seeing them in articulating teacher mode, so it's understandable. I don't think there are as many Nizai when you get into like legal philosophy, though. So that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm. Martin Heidegger, German continental philosopher, seminal figure in existentialism, phenomenology, and hermeneutics. What's your guess on him, Bruno?
Naiji.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Naiji for him.
I passed.
And I said Naiji. What'd you say, Mitchell?
I said Aishi. Obviously, the media is tricky with him, then. So
Okay, the meeting was tricky with him, and this is a very heavily laden sample.
yeah.
But I'm going to say software in this one. I don't have any to contradict this yet. I believe it looks like a Z9.
Oh man, I actually considered that when I was looking. I was like,
And by the way,
his face is so like full. It's like
it's known
Sorry?
for him.
The female that's known for being with him?
Maybe
Yeah.
Zaini in Marin.
I believe she might be a Z9 also, a double Z9.
You know, his cheeks, they bothered me a lot, and he never emoted.
Yeah, his head is really big. I mean, he does have a powerful head.
Those cheeks don't move.
Those
Full,
cheeks
very
don't
full
move,
face, I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
In fact,
That's
Matt,
really
like a
that is really
philosophical
interesting.
Dr. Phil.
That's really interesting. I'm really glad to have that.
All right, last one, Francis.
But obviously, I'd like to revisit that one with more media, and also
We do have some Xeni philosophers though, like Ayn Rand.
they're exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not,
Yeah.
and
Some other
part of what I was
feminists.
mentioning to Ademus is that I've gotten to some of the Pulitzers more deeper into that, and quite a few of the well-known female authors for some very like dramatic, heart-wrenching stuff are Xeni.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Mm.
It stands my concept of Xeni.
All right.
Francis Heiligen, Belgian cyberneticist. What's your guess, Bruno?
Ziny.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Ziny.
I said Ziny.
I said Naiji.
Yeah, I said Naishi too, but I can see Xeni.
Ziny.
Hey. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Fitness Ziny.
Well, he's a fitness.
Fitness. He's
Well,
a
not fitness,
cyber-
but he's very fit. I
Yeah, he
think that
is.
they showed up because I know like one threw me that way too was Ed Wilbur. You don't see as many like really super into fitness Ziny. So sometimes you see that the kind of one guys here Ziny, you see that fitness, you know, that focus on it might lean you one way or the other. And he was
Crap.
very fitness conscious.
I gotta get my live feed ready here while we consider maybe looking at some of these.
Very outdoorsy for sure. Yeah.
So,
There were some very tricky ones.
Richard Rorty.
Richard Rorty.
Who got him?
I got Richard Rorty,
Okay. Go ahead and take
and I can see where everyone was kind of
That
with him. His head was very round, but there was another Ziny philosopher that's also kind of heavy set, Willard Keene, who reminded me.
Mm.
And they speak with this like really slow cadence. His energy was like almost so slow, it was like almost depressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
But
feel like
it's Zine
he
neutral.
rips somebody. Can't. Who?
Yeah, it is a slower cadence
Yeah, it's not like
academic.
it is. He does have a broad face, but like at no point does he go out of like this kind of calming, I'm in this position sort of state.
In a way, he kind of reminds me of Philip Seymour.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, Glenn. Exactly that. And I was wondering, you know, we see a lot of Ziny males that have this shape. I mean, I wonder why Ziny males don't.
I don't. They're right. Ziny do sometimes maybe are a little thinner on average, but there are some who are heavier set.
Mm. It's good to have that. I think it's adds some kind of complexity.
Any country that's killed a million for no purpose couldn't really do much good, and must be some kind
I'll show the pictures of the guy I'm thinking of.
of sense that
See what I'm talking about.
what it all
Sure.
that indeed has persisted over the last 30 years,
Soothing.
particularly in politics.
Yeah.
Very calming.
Some of the best.
Oh yeah, I see Stephen Pike.
Radicals became Christians. Some of them kept peace,
Willard.
and our Americans and which
Also Ziny, I'm guessing, right?
He is Ziny, yeah. He was originally wrote as Naishi. But that's probably because of that more substantial quality his face has, but it's just
Yeah, he's a little bit
Just
more
has
leaner,
weight.
but yeah.
he's a little bit, yeah. And he's a little bit faster too if you watch his videos, but like this guy's like really
more, but
deep in his
He
diet.
like, yeah, he does.
Yeah, this guy's much leaner, I think, but yeah, I mean, it's.
one of the best refugees.
He draws out his words a little bit more, but you
Yeah.
can hear that sigh, like.
Cadence and the way he moves his hands and so forth, that's really helped. But his just the shape of his head, good round.
But do you think has anything shift in the way American political leadership was doing things? And how, of course, I'm inclined to think that, you know,
Yeah, as you can see, the knee.
Yeah, and the eyes are more like intermittent. Like his eyes are sort of more out of the picture. He's speaking like it's not really the energy isn't really focused on. And like he'll look at you.
That tower tone is pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of a drone there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the Xi and the Vi.
Made it very difficult for Democratic politicians to, you know,
There's a gesture in there, I go.
you know,
Very tiny.
obvious position.
Even the gatherers don't tend to do this thing where there's like this loose spooling. They tend to do these more like quicker, slightly more tight rounded rotations. They do a lot of round movements too, but there's more like this languid spooling.
Yeah, like
And
he's
he
like
did actually in this position as well, which is even you have to have more of a collapsed wrist to do.
The academy became a
It's
center for all
very like floppy the way he moves
exactly.
his
That's
hands.
a great
Yeah,
way of describing it.
sort of like a. Some people complain about handshakes being floppy sometimes, like a dead fish or something. I think maybe the towers might get dinged for that a little bit more. I think that might be something of a cue there.
the academy created a sort of more civilized.
Well, it definitely takes a less assertive position, which is the tower
On the
way.
other hand,
Yeah.
Pilots take the most assertive position with their articulation and their gesturing. But that makes
Well,
it
most-
also
yeah.
correspondingly weight. Like the tower tunnel, when the G articulation goes, you kind of feel like, like Bill Nye, for example, and this guy as well. Just that, like, oh, this has been very carefully and heavily weighed and precisely
Weighed, yeah.
before it was put
Right.
forward. So it gives a lot of impact in that way. All right, are we good with this one?
He's
I thought
tricky,
it was
but yeah.
very helpful with the face, video, particularly of his body overall, and listening to the voice, the audio.
Yeah, the
Audio-
pictures would have thrown me with him
Yeah.
if I just looked at them.
Exactly. There's that gesture again. Because you see there, the wrist there. When Colbert does that, the wrist is not quite as flexed back. It's more like here, and it's quicker. And it looks a little more like a flipper
Oh.
as compared to the more elongated of the towers. It's more whip-like. There's more of a whip-like quality to the tower hands as compared to the more like flipper or tassel quality of the gatherer hands, jazz hands. All right, let's go on to another one.
Maybe Hubert Dreyfus.
Yeah, he was tricky. I think Glenn got him.
Yeah. Glenn Takey.
There was a Nizai he was reminding me of, but it was like his face was a lot longer, so I thought, well, maybe he's just like that, but a Zaini. But no.
Yeah, he was tricky. I was going back.
Sorry, Glenn. Go ahead.
Oh, mainly I was going back and forth between the Nizai and the Naiji. His emoting was G, I could tell, but I wasn't sure how far I was going up his face. But then I kept thinking like Stephen Colbert in the back of my head
That's
for
interesting.
some reason. And then, even though his face is kind of like long, I guess you could say it has that sort of like subjective look to it. It has
Vaguely,
a fullness
yeah.
to it. It has a fullness to it.
It does. It does. It does.
A roundness to it.
I had to go into something that was not
Powerful head.
in my treatment.
The voice also seems more
The philosophy
seems
of
quicker.
It is quicker. Yeah, you're right. It's nowhere near like that last
more
guy.
fluttery.
Yeah.
maybe
I was kind of torn because I like,
my favorite
I
now.
don't know, I saw like knee in the eyes, but then I thought I was seeing subjective, but really I was just seeing perceptionally.
Yeah.
I was like going back and forth between Zaini and Naiji.
I could see
and
some
I was
between
I was
Naiji,
on
too.
knee Zai for a very short amount of time, but then I didn't hang on to it. And then
And then
What's interesting, he sits back and he's kind of laid back and you kind of think maybe subjective. But he moves his head around a lot in a very tight circle, but it's like very.
And his gesturing is pretty quick too. Yeah, I looking back at this, I think I just fell over.
I needed a problem. I think
It's almost neurotic. That's what I was thinking, like
It is
Naiji.
nervous energy, Linez Alpha.
yeah.
Nervous energy.
And I wrote my
But then I
undergrad
looked closer and I
It's
looked
like
at his eyes
it's a
and
quick
it didn't look
nervous
this
energy.
as.
It's like
It looked very.
Sorry, but I couldn't hear that.
philosophy. I really
it's like quick nervous energy. Is what I was saying,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
proved that Einstein and Kant were wrong, thinking you have to have strict causality or you're not talking about reality. And I worked on it for a year trying to figure
And
out
those cheeks, they obviously don't move. You guys mainly guessed Zaini, or was it also?
And Naiji. I guess Zaini, I think a few other people did. I think some people guessed Naiji.
Yeah, quite
Maybe
good.
Bruno and Ben did.
Yeah, those eyes are definitely unhooded. You can.
I was
It's hard to see because he kind of squints them a lot.
Yeah. I was seeing the Vi, so like I knew it couldn't be Naiji.
celebrating.
the knee.
seemed to be unboring. I think now everybody says
The knee was
philosophy.
more emphasized. And there was a Nizai's eyes specifically who you reminded me of, but I just thought his face was like, I don't know.
It does have
Maybe I
a
was kind of
slightly
lazy.
more refrained sort of demeanor than maybe some other Nizai, you know.
It does.
I think also the age can be kind of difficult.
Age can be tricky. He probably has a lot of like vi, so that can make it seem like hunter and also just subjective.
Yeah, because like this one, this one's younger than this one.
Not as high quality, but
Younger, I think, is actually like, way clearer. Like
I think
mean,
you're right. Yeah,
like-
you can see.
Like his face looks wider.
Go like halfway in. This is
His face is less aged, so it's like easier to see what's going on.
His hands. Look at his hands.
Yeah.
Those are not
Yeah,
spider.
definitely.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
I thought it
That was really obvious. Yeah.
Now you can definitely see the Stephen Colbert.
But still, I
reference
think
there.
this is a lot easier.
Yeah, you're right. It is. No, exactly.
He's like a retro Stephen Colbert almost.
And we already read this interview too, right? Isn't he Nizai? We read him last time with the Nizai philosopher that I requested AJ Ayer.
Yep.
It's like a Nizai show.
Mm.
Then they can rebel against
And he was tricky too.
Yeah. That's a tricky one.
Yeah, and his voice, I don't know if you can hear it, but there's like a flutteriness in the way that he speaks.
I can hear it, yes. This should have been more obvious.
It's got like a higher pitch kind of quality to it, which is interesting. And it's very different than the Zaini dude that we did just now.
Our last one was a great example. and even like Francis highlight maybe later in quiz.
the rest. And Whistler thought that was
I'm wrong too, but I did get he was subjective.
nothing else in the universe.
Yeah, his eyes are really really like when he does like these ups. Yeah, you see
A lot
so
of
much
eye
energy in the perking up.
And the hands are just so obvious.
Raising their eyebrows.
Yeah.
I don't know if the other dude might be Nizai. I'm not sure.
He is. He was red.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm seeing Nizai on both sides. Perk ups and stuff and all that.
Are we good with that? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Cool. Yeah, maybe, well, Hannah Critch, though, there was, Bruno.
Yeah, that was a tricky one. Bruno got her as an IZ.
She was a tricky one.
Yeah.
It's
That'd be a great one.
I like to look at her. I was worried about an IZ, but like I didn't want to guess it because like there's so few of them. I hate when I do that.
It's funny. I was going back and forth between Naiji and Z9 a little bit,
That's
and then I was like, "What is going on here?"
there you go. I consider Xeno.
I met with Dr. Hannah Critch.
You considered Xeno.
I consider Z9 like Nice and Zaini, and I guess Naiji, but I'm like, oh,
She has good energy and she has good emoting, and I can see
she
why.
does.
Yeah,
She has kind of a charming energy.
Yeah, I can see why people would think Jez Mojo for sure.
Yeah. So Bruno, tell us what you saw.
I saw
You
the
looked at
picture
pictures?
that I saw the
Just a
picture
very
that
good
you
river.
posted on the forum. I saw that on Google Results, and she actually reminded me of Nizai Helen McCrory, who plays one of the Malfoys in Harry Potter.
Mm.
You know who I'm talking about?
Narcissa?
Who? Can you say her
Narcissa
name again?
Malfoy?
Draco Malfoy's mother,
Narcissa,
Karen
yeah.
McCrory.
Narcissa, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Narcissa Malfoy. So she reminded me of her, who's a Nizai. But then I just said, well, that's not quite right. Then I flipped it to Niz. That's all. That's as far as I went with it.
Oh, so you
That's
just
interesting.
Yeah.
You guys watch now, see what you all can see. Now you know.
Yeah. So
Media's a little fuzzy, but I think it's
did you just read her like immediately right now? Like you said that you were not.
He was
Yeah,
just looking
I
at
was
pictures.
I was just looking at pictures. That's how I read normally, anyways.
Oh.
Yeah,
I just
Bruno's
looked for,
really
like,
good at like
literally a few
riffing and
seconds.
stuff. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I get so many wrong. But
You got so many right too. You get a lot of tricky ones.
kind of serpentine jutting. She has a lot of that. He's kind of like
Yeah.
yeah, but not emoting.
I was seeing Nialpha.
And those cheeks are not moving. Yeah.
she almost looks like an MMA fighter.
Yeah. She had like
No, I can see
Nialpha,
that.
her energy was kind of like charming. So I thought maybe Naiji, but I really wasn't paying attention to how far it was going up.
Yeah, there is a one.
Beat up some other girl.
Female. Probably a more too. Yeah, I was wondering. There did seem to be like an unaware quality to her.
Yep.
And that made me start thinking, like, what about Nijai? But then
Yeah,
those,
that's where I'm
Yeah, I couldn't make Nisha fit.
I couldn't make it
That-
work
that's-
either. Her face was too long,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she seemed too much like a huntress.
And yeah, her eyes would like widen in a way that gatherers don't. Was
That's a very natural state. Honestly, one thing
but she has logic. It's I can see some thinking inside.
quick, seeing very low viscosity.
Yeah.
And while she's doing it, though, she's gaining momentum. You can see clearly, but the cheeks don't move. So lots of momentum with jutting, but with no cheek moving. She drifts easily.
It reminds me of like something about like young Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, but I can see that.
Yeah, kind of. There is some kind of a riff of somebody that I'm getting, but I'm not sure.
All right, I think I have time for one more. Was anyone else? The other one that was.
I mean, I think
Well, Heidegger, but I don't know what you think about his media.
Why don't you guys take a look at it? Because this is soft read, but I from what I'm seeing so far, if I wasn't saying, oh, this is Heidegger, and you were just asking me, I'd be like, that dude kind of looks like a Z9.
Well, I think Z9's fair, actually, to be honest. I admit I didn't really get that much weight, but that's
it
really
makes
interesting,
perfect
and I
sense
actually
to
think
me.
it's possible.
Yeah.
I
don't
think it
it's
actually
ridiculous
is.
or anything like that.
His face has got that.
I didn't see his cheek moving hardly at all.
He does have a very powerful head, and I did that same thing I did with like TJ, the Amazing Atheist, where I was like Niji or Nijai. His eyes look piercing, but he's got kind of a powerful head. Wait,
Right.
maybe he's a Z9.
Yeah.
Didn't really consider that.
Mhm. Yeah, very flat anvil.
Yeah.
yeah, and the mouth does look localized, and that lower lip.
Yeah, I never really see him doing like big smiles.
I've
And
had
that gaze that he does when he looks up, that looks very boundary setting.
Yes, I do think he has nine eyes.
Yeah. Particular to
It
this,
also
when
made me
he
want to
does
say
that,
Niji.
Yeah, I think that's why.
the gaze. When he does the gaze, that's very important because he looks down and away a lot because he uses his subjective powers a lot.
Good night, very good night, Shy.
But when he looks up, he looks full on frontal the way, to me, a pilot does, and he looks.
Yeah.
Like
He's a
enjoying
powerful figure.
That right
even
there,
politically.
right there. That was just face on. It seemed to me like a lot of momentum was there, and the energy I got was from a politician, a world leader.
Exactly, and he
Yeah,
was
I got that
associated
too.
with politics.
Got a lot of
and
nods, and they're like, well, let me think about your question. Ba, 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 and that's
unfortunately,
what
the
you
Nazi
want,
Party,
that
but
strength. He's exuding a lot of, to me, strength, taking up room.
Yeah.
Yeah, those eyes, they got me too. I was like, they look so impactful. What is that? I was thinking maybe that's Nai Cunning.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely not
Swords.
cunning.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was
think-
Swords though, but
His
it's
whole face, I think it was what Demon's alluding to, is when he locks on, his whole face leans in.
Yeah,
like a train, right? Just like.
and there's him walking. I don't know what do you think of that.
I know that was a good. I thought that the walking was an interesting thing to look at.
Is that like?
Hard to tell.
Yeah. But
Even when he walks, he's like, you know, like chug, chug,
He
chug.
does. He walks like a. I've seen a lot of Xenite politicians that walk like that.
It makes so much
Makes
sense.
me wonder about Nietzsche because like a lot of people think he was Niji, maybe not so sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has no media, unfortunately, so we can only speculate. But
So definitely we could go back in
Maybe-
time and
Is there another video?
like
Nice.
all the his
Of Heidegger?
figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few.
Ayn Rand, where is she from? Is she German
Russia.
too? Russia. Okay.
She's Russian.
Interesting.
Right here. When he does this stuff like that, it strikes me that that is more momentum. When he's looking down and kind of like getting his thoughts together with his knife, that's momentum too. But I think what Demas is noting is true. It seems to right there. The momentum actually surges in that full face kind of. Right there, he's thinking. See, this is not, I think this is Nye right now, and it's momentum, but minor momentum. And there, when he engages, and what he reminded me of, actually like that, right here, is Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil kind of go in, he'll like, well, let me think about it. He'll like ponder on it, and then full.
Yeah, but he's very. Yeah, he has a very like assertive energy, Dr. Phil. I wouldn't want to mess with him.
All right, yeah.
werden, die man aber, glaube ich, beseitigen kann.
It's funny how vulnerable he looks when he's looking down.
Yeah, there
But
are
he
some.
looks so powerful when he comes out.
For me, I believe this is a Z9, but so I'll have to look at media. But going off that for now, is if you compare this to the Nizi lady we saw previously in the quiz.
Yeah.
She was jutting a lot, and it was definitely momentum. He's jutting much less. But like as Demas alluded to it, and I think it's what I'm seeing too, it seems like he does it less because he's like this academic Z9, but when he does, there's a surge of
Also a
momentum every time he kind of like just tosses this big power chunk easily. There.
And his philosophy has a lot of actually like emotional emphasis to it too. That's part of it. It's about like experience and personal experience and stuff like that. So I can see probably a lot of shy development too.
Yeah. And his cheeks are not moving. And again, Dr. Phil also has that riff, which he's got a lot of Nye and Jai playing like the counselor role. But every time he comes forward, these cheeks are not moving. So to me, I was like, I don't think I can say the eyes to me look Nye.
Yeah.
And the cheeks, I was thinking maybe like Yi Jai, because I was definitely thinking of saying Z and Jai, but they're like not moving at all. What there does seem to be is when he actually pauses. When he pauses and kind of goes into himself, I'll sometimes see a little warming, but it doesn't go up very much.
No, really, I can find no point in the video where it goes up at all.
Yeah.
Or pictures even.
You know, I scoured everywhere, couldn't find it.
I didn't really look at that picture.
There's like this bracing glow that kind of goes up his face, and again, like Dr. Phil, he'll like think of something, and he's gonna say something controversial, and he's pleased. You know what I mean? Like, well, you got to take that bull by the horn, Sarah. That's what you need to do. You know what I mean? It's sort of like that. Boom. It really reminds me of that.
That's really, really interesting.
Rückbildung an Mächte und Kräfte und Gesetze, die das menschliche Vermögen.
Okay, one thing here that makes me think not hunter is when hunters do this jutting, like the Nizi lady above, you'll notice that it will not hold this steadiness. Generally, Ni Alpha, actually, all the hunters, when they do their jutting, they'll tend to have their eyes go off. They'll look away and come back, look away and come back. And that can be seen in two ways, as less strong than, say, the pilot way, or unnerving. Because, like, there's this flickering. While we're jutting, the eyes will flicker.
Yeah, he has a very steady quality to him.
Very steady.
Like, even when he goes in, it's like he's very solid.
Very solid. If he was like a Ni Alpha, I would think I'd see a little more flickering in these juts, but I don't see any flickering.
Like Ni Alpha, even when we go in, we can be very twitchy and stuff.
Yeah. The other way is the twitchy can be locked in. And what will happen is that sort of desire Ni Alpha will have, and also Vi Alpha on their way to kind of go off with their eyes, they'll like,
yeah,
and it becomes very penetrating.
Yeah.
His eyes don't become that coalesced into penetration either. They're steady, full. That doesn't look like he wants to look away, but he also doesn't need to, like, talk about like the hunters will do if they're gonna not have the twitchy in the eye to look away to their worldview. They'll like burrow into you. Do you know what I mean? In order to like not flick away when they're jutting, they will burrow into you to use the energy. But he's not burrowing. He's not flicking away at all, and he's not burrowing his eyes. He's just holding it strong.
Yeah, that's discernment lead right there.
I think so.
Yeah.
And well, wait, maybe his head too. It also doesn't have that kind of more slinky, and even the Vi Alpha, they have more of an arc. Not the, say, more broken rhythm arc of a Ni Alpha, but they do kind of arc their juts. The pilots don't. It's more forward.
Just full on.
Full on, and they take more ground. And will often go forward, and then go forward again.
Whereas in Ni Alpha, it's more like serpentine, like they're kind of like moving, like
Exactly.
sort of transforming their way into like an area, rather than like their form just kind of going right up against it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Vi Alpha have a variation of it where they kind of like they stroke into the jut. It doesn't just
Yeah.
And also the neck. Although there's tension in the hunter neck, there is more play in the neck. The pilots, it's forehead, face, chin, throat, chest, and shoulder. It's this unit, and that's what gives that kind of like lionic quality. Not just the face, but just their overall stance. It just takes up room.
Like a bulldog, right? Yeah.
In a way, yeah, bulldog or a bull,
Mm-hmm.
or a lion, or even a bear. Anything that actually just openly displays its strength. As compared to, say, more hunting animals, they'll sometimes show, like, they'll angle, and the way they're angling, that's how they show their hunters, that I won't stand in front of you.
Like a dragon or a bird of
they'll
prey
keep
or
standing
like a
off in
snake.
your eye line, and that's how you know that, oh, I'm dangerous. As compared to, I'm walking forward with no fear of your power, your force. I'm going to overwhelm it, and you can see that I'm going to. It's also very effective, and the pilots specialize in that. Shock and awe is there. Well, they do a lot of things awesome, but that one, it's hard to beat them on that. They're gifted. All right.
Ayn Rand had that sort of reputation.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the advanced one. But that was a very interesting read, and that's what I'm going to go soft read. There is enough media for me to say that. I don't think
Just because of the quality of it.
the quality and the ladeness of it. I'm
Yeah.
saying soft because enough that if anyone got it, I would give them the credit for it. So I'm gonna keep it as I'll put them out publicly. But I'd like to have more media.
Just acknowledging the lateness of it.
Acknowledging it, and that I would like to, because you and I, Mitchell, another bubble we're going to get into is like that consciousness correlation to the STEM bubble, philosophy, psychology, all that kind of stuff.
And it helps to put him up with some of it.
Exactly. I'd like to actually get deeper in that bubble and come back and look at him again.
Fair. All right, I've got a live read. So we can do an economics professor, Robin Hanson.
Do you have videos?
He was actually someone I was discussing with Alcides on the forum to read. He's interesting. Yeah. Looks like he has some good interviews. All right, we'll try this one first. Actually, that's a little low quality. But there's more. So no big deal. Here's him standing up. It's interesting. All right. For this one, we'll see what you think of it. There's plenty more if this doesn't work. Do you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like he's an economics professor.
That's him.
That's him, I believe. Yeah.
Name is Robert Hanson.
Robin Hanson.
Robin Hanson.
I'll type it in the chat.
I know that in pictures, I'm drawn to his eyes. Like, there's something about the way that they look that's kind of interesting.
I agree with that assessment.
I'm not sure what that means.
Economics is interesting because there's pretty diverse modules that we have in there. There's even like Phi Alpha and stuff, but also some interpretives.
Let's go for
So-
you want to learn about that and how you like when we talk about future stuff, we want to talk about
That's some interesting bopping he's doing.
I know, I was noticing.
He is moving around a lot.
Yeah.
He does something cold. I'm wondering if that's how that.
That's a
Yeah,
fair
he does look
observation,
cold. He looks
Riley.
freezing, actually.
He's quite bundled.
Like, he's cold and he's got to pee.
Not
But
sure about
he
that
is
last one,
combining the movement into his articulation, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like he'll kind of bop and then jut with it.
Yeah, it meshes. Yeah.
talk about Africa or Himalaya. We're still much more concerned with those things that they reflect on us. The lowest traveler of the world and reflects on our insight and our like-mindedness. They don't actually care about
Interesting.
that's all we care about.
Can we get something with hands
Yeah.
There's plenty more, yeah.
where he's not like freezing to death?
And you can see a little bit more of his face, too, I think.
Keep watching that. I'll look for something better.
The Survivor version.
A Survivor interview.
Distinctive modes and far modes.
Another angle.
Near mode, we're focused on here now.
Is there a less frozen one?
Yeah, Mitchell's looking.
Yeah, there's a lot of interviews. I'm just saying kind of on the best one. All right, we'll try this one.
Okay.
Abstract goals, long distance, long times, and we tend, when we're thinking about other people and what they should be doing later on,
Man.
Oh no! Apparently the uploader of this video disabled embedding, so we can't use it.
ourselves today and
Okay.
Hey,
more practical and more
Wow. Thanks, uploader.
way to go.
Screw you, upload.
Shout out to uploader.
yeah, more realistic term
Alright, here's a long one.
categories of which you would start with.
Alright, I don't know if there's hands in this one, unfortunately, but he's not moving around.
Right now,
All right.
So we'll try this.
Sounds good.
And then I'll keep looking for hands. He's on the right there, and he's not. The other guy's not going to be on the screen the whole time. He goes off.
Talking about people's biases, where you said we're all biased, and you think we know that we're biased, but it's actually much
Here,
than you
oh,
would
sorry.
think sometimes, and that is, and this is like, for example, and so on.
Wait, what the heck? There it is.
then becomes the key question.
Well, look, we live in a very problematic deep.
Oh, never mind. This guy is not a lot.
No, I believe that if you compare that world to, the world that we lived in 2,500 years ago, I think in most ways we're making progress. We are freer, and we have more options, we have more opportunities.
This one might be better.
Oppressed minorities are not so.
G'day, Robin.
Minorities are not
Hello,
supposed
Adam.
Okay.
How are you?
Great. Great to meet our members. We're here to talk about a great film today.
Yeah, he does have
15 years ago,
something interesting going on with his eyes.
I do think I'm seeing a lot of energy.
I'm still with Dad, expanding to the universe. Film the universe is classified. Okay, thanks.
Associate Professor, Economics.
Yeah, I think it's
It's really interesting.
I think maybe G, said Glenn.
Yeah, I feel like he has G.
I could go along with that.
Yeah. I'd
I'd
also.
say I'd lean in that direction. Lean.
Ominous indeed. So here it's a beautiful summer sunny day.
Yeah, the way he's talking, that seems like a G.
The butterfly.
Or G user, I mean.
So it's really hard to mentally get into the.
You guys like something like Nizai
And you
or.
look up
It's
at
possible.
Please, I'm also considering the Pi G.
Definitely worth considering because there are quite a few in economics.
And it looks gorgeous. And the
On
ominous
both of those.
realize
Mhm.
all completely dead, as far as you can see. It's not butterflies and leaves and worms and birds. It's just completely dead. And everywhere we've ever looked, in any big detail, it looks completely dead. So obviously, we can't see forever. There could be stuff out there that's living in basically fall and not acting enough to make things really visible. But that's a puzzle because we've been growing, and our civilization's been rapidly improving its capacities and growing in the resources we use and the visibility that we would make to others. And so it's along the trajectory we seem to be going on. It looks like there's a substantial chance, at least, that we could be visible and then get more visible and even more visible on an even wider scale as we wrap it up.
The way he's talking is kind of funny. Like,
It's like he's very animated. I mean,
Yeah.
That all over the place, this isn't.
yeah.
You know,
there's fluctuations in his voice, which is.
in the desert, really.
Like, is he? How about beginning, middle, end to his arguments? It seems kind of like he's like pulling from lots of different places. I don't know.
Yeah, like he's kind of just throwing things out.
Yeah. Seems more stream of consciousness.
They just the universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, it's kind of like an awful way to explain. Because I guess you was addressing the Fermi paradox. Where are they all?
Right. I mean, the universe doesn't have to like follow our ideals of what's a waste or not, but it's ominous. I mean, the universe is absolutely enormous, and we have this story that in our past.
Why does his eyes look so piercing?
Like Earth.
Yeah, I'm getting that too, Glenn. I'm getting a lot of like boundary setting piercing energy from the eyes. But I'm wondering whether that's natural state or altered state.
Spread to more niches.
Yeah, I'm not close up to that.
More and more ability.
So, yeah, I'm definitely really thinking about that right now.
Use them, and materials can use them, and
Like Vaishi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Possibly.
like Vaiji and Nizai, it seems like we're looking for.
It's funny because he's got the really round head.
He does have a round head.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And kind of twitchy-ish energy.
Mm-hmm.
Just how rare does it have to be? So the great filter is the idea of thinking about
But his features, they look kind of fine.
past
Yeah, what do you guys...
and following
Kind of, might be like a Christopher Hitchens kind of like Vaiji, I don't know.
along a
This
path toward
picture,
growing,
I don't know, he's sitting down, he looks very relaxed.
What stops it? What could be the barriers or the endpoints that would just basically cut it off? And just think that's a filter. Each of those steps is a filter, something that prevents it from continuing to become this expanding visible life. And overall, we have to conclude that if we look out and we can see like 10 to 20 stars or more,
Nizai and Vaiji. Vaiji
and
and
none of them
Nizai.
appear to
So,
have created
the ones
an
that are
expanding
resonating the most.
capacity of life, then that's at least 10 to the 20 stars.
So maybe we need some rifts.
That didn't make it all the way through the Great Mystic Filter.
I'm also considering like the Naiji a little bit too, but I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah, I actually considered that for a while, Glenn. I considered Xenai even pretty briefly.
So,
Yeah, Xena a little bit too. But I think you would agree that he doesn't seem to.
But after a while, I mean, it seems like the perception lead energy.
Yeah, I think the perception energy is Ni and Bai to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
It doesn't
me
seem
too.
piercing cunning.
filters, and we have a
Me too.
10 to the 5 chance. 1 in 10,000
Not like Heidegger.
chance, or 100,000 chance of making it along that filter from here on. And
The
that's
pictures.
What's the mojo of Glenn Beck?
If I show you, right?
When we look out there,
Yeah,
what we see hasn't expanded.
He looks like one back.
I mean, in a sense, the data is.
Are you riffing on
I think I see like in terms of game.
Are you guys talking about Glenn Beck?
Similar.
He was updated to Xenai, pretty
Oh,
sure.
was he?
Was he really? Whoa.
Yep, that's in the 20K.
Thanks a
Oh,
lot
okay.
for that
Okay.
correction.
Farther back.
Yeah,
It's
Xenai.
good to know.
Go out.
Yeah,
no idea.
never mind then. I think it was something else I was seeing there. Then.
Sometimes his cadence reminds me of Stephen Molyneux.
It's a bit less, but
Glenn Beck's or this guy?
out there.
This guy.
That's
Oh.
interesting.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's Mojo?
Stephen Molyneux Xenai.
He's the Xenai, like, YouTube personality.
Yeah, and he's got a big, like, Freedom in Radio thing. It's like a very serious interface. He's a philosopher, too. It's all Xenai philosophers.
Although Stephen Molyneux likes to take his time, likes to take up space in his articulation.
He does. And he likes to be
Yeah.
controversial.
Yeah.
dense pool of matter that could have supported life then. But then after that, in terms of stars, stars we had, we are well past the peak of star formation now in the universe. The peak was many billion years early, so we're late in a sense. Even if you take,
I feel like he reminds me of like bobble-headed knee alpha academics like Nizai.
the very first stars,
Yeah,
The way his head is moving.
like some bobble.
His
And
head moves a lot.
yeah.
supernova generations make lots of yellow. But I don't
His
know.
eyes and trying to like make sure it's not like too piercing.
Yeah.
We're late, really.
Because like he does obviously have good Vi and knee development. So like, is it knee with like a lot of ability to like Vi focus in, or is it like Vi with like a lot of knee surrounding him?
What about Zaini?
It does seem a little faster.
A little fast and a lot of eye energy
Look at a satellite from space.
to me.
Look at wild stuff. Look at civilized stuff. The civilized stuff looks different.
Because I mean, like Jim Parsons has like a similar shape head, I guess. I don't know.
Look different in vibrations in different ways, but it looks
I don't know. I'm not sure I've ruled out Xenai yet.
huge.
Yeah, I haven't
Neither have
really
I.
ruled that out yet either.
I'm not entirely.
Trains, geometric structures. So in principle, that's the kind of thing you would expect to see. You would expect
It's not really
earrings of how maybe they make big black hole
He
engines.
moves his head around a lot.
Maybe they make superhighways. But surely they'd be using resources, so that of course we might see if they were burning fast, we might see lots of breaks.
Like, I feel like I've seen riffs of Xeni, like,
Nothing was,
that look like it,
but it would look different somehow.
but I don't have anyone in particular.
As we keep looking out there, of course, we see things.
Something about his moting just looks G to me then.
Things that didn't make
Seems like
sense
it.
for you.
I'm not getting Jai at all from him.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't think I'm seeing.
He seems like he's trying to sell you on things, and he's
Like a
smiling
smile in the
and very
pictures.
aware, kind of like a salesman.
Bruno, if you're talking, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Sorry, I was trying to pause.
Sorry. You
Again, it happened again. When you pause it, it mutes you. And
Yeah,
when you-
right. So I was trying to capture the smile that he does. Like it's very like toothy, like like he did it several times just a few minutes ago. Let me rewind it and try. Right there. Did you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just missed it by a second. Let me try to rewind it.
It looks like a good freeze frame, but
So yeah.
Yeah, these are hard to catch.
Well, there's actually some reason.
It's quite a
You can look
delay.
at pictures. I mean, he smells a lot in the pictures.
You know, few months of the universe.
Yes, there's.
Sorry, I keep muting you guys. I'm trying to get that frame.
Like here's a toothy smell in a picture.
Yeah, but I think we. I mean, we get what you're pointing to in terms of his smile. Was there a particular thing that you wanted to point out about it?
I think the way that it's he does it on cue. It's very like on cue and controlled.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like like a kind of selling smile.
Is it like a? Go ahead, Demus.
Oh, I mean, sure. All right. I was just going to say, before we blow all of our time on this one interview, there's a TED Talk that might actually have some interesting shots.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Cross contextualization to the rescue.
Yeah, it might give us like some gesturing because maybe it'll get with his body.
yeah, and this interview isn't really all that great, to be honest.
No, it's not.
in terms of video
Yeah.
footage.
We got.
I have another interview too if you
Or
want.
at least we've mined it as much as we could have.
Can you load it up, Adimus? Oh, you got it.
Already doing it.
You got it. Yeah, those hands.
Okay, the hands.
Digits are kind of short.
They are short. They kind of look a little bit Gumby, I think.
A little bit, yeah.
I want to see him again. Go away, great errors. We don't care.
No. Bye.
You're not that great.
Ugly.
Will not help us get to the answer.
His hands like go back.
Yeah, that's like
Same
a-
position,
That's pretty
yeah.
quick gesturing.
Yeah, it is. I don't think it's Ziny.
Kind of reminds me of the Ni Jai from The Americans. What's that guy's
That's
name?
interesting.
Oh yeah, the FBI boss,
Yeah.
Richard something.
I'll look him up. Richard Americans.
Richard Pryor.
No.
Yeah, Richard Thomas. Yeah, that's a good call, Glenn. Because actually, he reminds me a little bit of Infinity, who the other guy also reminds me of.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
I don't know that I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was getting that more earlier when he was like bobbling a lot and like being very casual.
His mouth looks different to me.
Yeah.
He's being very professional now. I'm not saying he's a Nijai. I'm just saying as a Ni Alpha
That is
risk.
fair. Yeah, I mean there are a lot of similarities.
But yeah, it's interesting that Glenn brought up Richard Thomas because I was actually trying to zero in on like a Ni Alpha riff.
There's something about him.
Yeah,
I can't
he
shake
does look
vibes.
pretty different. He looks pretty different from Richard Thomas in the community, but just the
Noting
energy.
the G and Zai. He uses like lots of G, so it's hard to imagine like Zai on him.
I feel like I see like bobbly movement the way he kind of like when he flared out his hand. Like I looked like I saw a little bit of vibration in the digits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
I do feel a little bit uneasy about the head shape. It feels like a mixture of elongated and rounded.
He's like a big forehead, but I've seen a lot of objective and subjective notice big foreheads.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really mean anything.
I mean, his hairline sort of affects the way we perceive that, but
Exactly.
But just the shape of it, it's like it's not, it's not clearly one way or another.
Yeah.
I notice his gesturing really quickly returns to his personal space. Like he likes to keep his hands up here and then go whoop.
I mean, there are Nisai with longer faces than him on my quiz.
That is interesting.
Like, what's his face? Hubert Dreyfus has a longer face than him when he's Nisai.
Something about his hands look kind of a little bit fine in a way. I don't know. This guy. Anybody else getting like a Kevin Spacey almost? I don't know.
Kevin Spacey. What's his mojo again?
Nice. But yeah, it's.
I really doubt it.
Are you guys seeing the mowing going up at all?
Are we saying what?
Not in particular, but I don't want to like.
Yeah, because that's
Totally
something I'm
rule it
noticing.
out, but-
Yeah.
Are we saying what?
Oh,
Mowing.
whether you're seeing the mowing going up.
Oh, Modin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like he has a pretty expressive mouth.
Yeah, because
But I
if
don't
we
really
want
see,
to
like-
possibly consider like Baiji versus Nizai, that'd be a.
And his eyes, I mean, they're really. He does have very bright eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, like a lot of the pictures, I'm wondering if like, because Nizai they have like a sharp look to their cheeks. So if you look at the eyes and the cheeks, it has like a, kind of a different look to it because you have the sheer cheeks right next to the eyes and that kind of.
Yeah.
That hits you a certain way.
True.
Plus the significant amount of vibe they would have.
They're more
say for the opponents.
Mitchell,
Sorry.
there more interview footage.
Yeah, there's more. This one is okay. Although it's sort of like that one before, where his eyes are more obscure than I'd like them to be.
But yeah, that's a really interesting connection you made, Glenn. I just posted pictures of Richard Thomas link.
Sure, yeah.
Here's him.
Yeah, I was looking at pictures of him too.
But again, it's him with someone. What about this one?
And I also just because for some reason I thought of it.
I can try this one.
I looked up pictures of Alan Alda, who's a Jaini. And so there's some links there. I don't know, maybe it's just like an adaptive knee user thing, but I mean, Alan Alda has always struck me as like pretty laid back and friendly. And this guy seems like that as well.
It's a scientific prediction. Money buying loaded.
Doesn't look anything like Alan Alda.
Most of humans pay most money in the market.
And like, what about his voice? Does it seem more like fluttery or more like drone? 'Cause that's quite
I
a
can
big.
hear a drone.
That's definitely a big draw.
I mean, the way he moves is just like
Rich market is
he's
just
just
Yeah.
like very jittery.
applied to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not, there's also another thing to the voice of Nizai where they're gonna have more tower tunnel than a Vaiji, and that can sound kind of gravelly too.
Marketing companies say you might have a deadline of a project, you will make the deadline, you might have a people bet on whether you make the deadline. And the
So that way you might think a drone might be tower tunnel.
assessment of the change in the deadline, say, okay, and that could be, and often is, a much better estimate of the chance of making the deadline than you would get by asking the manager of the project, or doing a survey, or maybe other mechanisms for finding out what happened. So, the prediction market is a betting market on something you care about, so that you bother to make the market ever find the question.
So, well, how did you become interested in that, and what do you find so fascinating about this?
Well, so I was a physics student long ago,
That's interesting.
and then I got interested in
Turns out he's like a Vijay.
Well, there's definitely more Nizai in physics than Vaiji.
Double rainbow physics.
field me, and then thinking, I say, okay, what is it about science that's giving us the truth other people? And then you get very.
He's also kind of a futurist, which might be worth mentioning.
Philosophy of science graduate school. Say, well, what is all this stuff? And in the end, it turns out it's a big, complicated social institution that doesn't have particular simple answers for why it works. And
Like those smiles that he keeps doing, like they seem very like
world is all
geared towards the audience.
forming policy and everything else, and you realize that these things don't work very well. That the institutions we have for figuring out what we should think about
Alright, I guess I'm ready.
Russia,
Okay.
China, or anything
I
else.
think we're about at time. What do you guys? Where do you guys land? We'll start with you, Bruno.
I guess Nizai.
Okay. Glenn?
Yeah, for me, Nizai and then Vaiji.
Ben?
Nizai, then Nijai.
Interesting.
Demon?
Oh, right, yeah, I'm on my phone.
Nizai, and then I guess Vaiji.
Yeah, I'll go the same way. How about you, Mitchell?
I'll do Nizai, then maybe Nijai and Vaiji.
Yeah, he was one that I had to weigh between Nizai and Baiji for a while. I thought I was seeing those shades, and like you guys noted, that there was a lot of energy in the eyes. I believe this is a Nizai with a lot of Vi.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
For me, I thought you guys said that it didn't, but to myself, I did hear a substantial amount of drone that I
Yeah, me too.
kind of
Mhm.
think about for a while, and its eyes were really squinty.
Yeah.
But I think overall there was just more momentum bobble, and the hands gesturing did not look elongated or tensioned. It like
Yeah.
it was close to his body.
He was super, but he was like super bobbly before the drone. Like one of the first things I picked up on was this kind of tone that he has, but like it's so kind of like kind of bubbly like a drone, you know.
And his emoting also does not go past the midline.
And like, even when Vaiji have a lot of...
I did think about that for a little while too, only because he has a bit more of a more rounded cheek
Yeah.
than some
Yeah.
we've seen.
Yeah.
Or true.
He was hard, but yeah, I think
But
It's
I
a
think,
lid on it.
I think you guys dialed in. Like Nizai.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, team.
So, Mitchell, you will post your results, please, and
I
then
will do
up next is that Glenn.
Unless the Demus is ready.
So.
Is the Demus ready?
I think.
Yeah.
Demus, are you ready, or are you going to wait to next rotation? What are you going to do?
I'm waiting to the next rotation.
Okay. That's what I figured. So next up then would be Glenn. Are you? Do you have samples?
Yeah, I have samples.
Excellent. Boom. Alrighty. So we are set for the week. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Wow. And for those who are watching it, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
Oh, when is it gonna be? Oh, it's gonna be coming soon.
All right, everyone. Have a
Is
great
winter coming? Winter's coming.
Good night.
Who's coming?
Who's coming?
The